Hello. In this video I just wanted to quickly talk through how I use Casedo to organise my different cases and the information that's relevant to them, and how I can switch quickly between cases, and how I use Casedo also for backup and storage of all my data. So that all starts really with the concept of creating a new file for every new case. So if I go to here to the file menu and hit new case, I'm asked to create a new file, and I would save that here in my cases folder. And what I'll do for every new matter I'm working on is create a new folder, and I'm going to give that a silly name for now, but you can see here that would go in my list of cases, and for each case I'm on I've got a separate folder for that matter. And so here I've created a new one, and I'm going to call this, I'll give that the same name, and that creates a new file, empty for now, into which I'm going to import all my case data. And of course that file, Casedo doesn't upload that to the internet, that's all locally stored exactly where you put it. So we're not messing with your data at all. But going back to my Finder window, you can see now that folder we've just created with the case we've just created locally on my own machine. Now I'm storing this on, as I do all these files, on Dropbox, because that gives me the benefits of cloud storage. Dropbox is GDPR compliant, although I also use OneDrive, which similarly is compliant. And what that's doing, obviously, is in the background is uploading all these files to the internet. It's storing them there, it's creating backups, and it's even creating a version history. So if some file gets corrupted, for example, I can go back in the version history and find an earlier version that's okay. So it's a really secure way of storing your data. And you'll know yourselves whether or not that's an acceptable situation for your working environment. You may have a different system, a DMS of some sort, or just your own protocols that you like to follow for keeping your data secure. This is what I do, and we could probably argue about that all day. So what is interesting to see here, however, in my list of cases is I've got an individual folder for each matter, and in each of them I have a whole series of folders dated like this, which are to do with when individual documents come in. I create a dated folder and put them in that, and then they're stored here. And so you've got all sorts of things in here, not just PDFs, but obviously Word documents that I'm working on, etc., etc. And that list grows as the matter progresses. I normally also have a folder of authorities, which is split into cases and legislation, sometimes also books, and I have some other things. But the really important part is always going to be this case file, because that's the single case file that I will have inside each folder. And in there is going to be all my information. If I turn to this case, I turn to this file and I double click that one, and it opens up for me. So if I was to go back here, I would simply double click that case. And that's really all there is to it. The only other thing I want to mention is the use of recent cases, which is a great feature and allows you to very quickly switch between matters. So for example, I can easily go to a recent case such as this to jump back into a previous matter. I've got lots of these available, and it means if I'm working on 2 or 3 matters, I can just use recent cases to jump between things very quickly. So that's all there is really to say. The principles of working digitally are to be organized digitally, and this is a system that I think works very well, though of course it will have to be adapted to your particular working environment. Thanks.